Good morning, this is a mic test. If you can hear, please respond in the chat box so we know that we're good with volume, please. Okay, well, good morning.
Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in. We're so glad to have this chance to chat with you today and to get you ready to join your program at Georgia Tech.
Welcome to the Fall 2019 Pre-Arrival Webinar hosted by OIE International Student Advisors Courtney Johnson and
Nora Hamilton.
We're also known as Delicious Dish.
Ooh.
If you follow us on Instagram, we did post our picture yesterday so that you can see the faces behind the names and who's hosting today's webinar. If you do have Instagram, we are GT_ISS. So feel free to give us a follow. Okay, so for the sake of this morning, you're going to be with us for about an hour, maybe hour 15 minutes, to discuss what to expect for prior to arrival to Georgia Tech, including international student check-in, what to anticipate upon arrival to Atlanta, the city of Atlanta, and Georgia Tech campus, and things to be mindful of in your first couple of weeks here as a student at Georgia Tech. So once we go through our presentation, there will definitely be time at the end for a Q&A. Nora is taking care of our live chat via YouTube, so that's who's responding to your comments and questions. I'm going to facilitate the webinar, and Nora will also jump in as well to help facilitate the webinar. So let's get this party started. So again, here is just a quick overview of our agenda. And this is what we had just discussed a second ago, what we will cover in today's webinar. That link at the bottom there, that is where we have all of our pre-arrival information. So if you want to take note of where to access other pre-arrival information, feel free to jot or note that webinar down so that way you can access information even after the webinar. Okay. So first on the agenda is international student check-in. So there is a lawful requirement that any international student that arrives to the U.S. or to Georgia Tech, they have to complete what's called lawful presence, okay? And this is our way to ensure that all students have arrived and uploaded their immigration documents and have fulfilled this requirement. So to complete the international student check-in process, everything is electronic through iStart. You all should be familiar with iStart to some degree. iStart is the database that OIE uses to gather documents from you, students, and then when you come to the Georgia Tech, you will begin to use iStart pretty frequently or infrequently for different type of requests from us as advisors. You'll learn more about iStart when you do arrive to Georgia Tech, but you should have some familiarity with iStart because that's how you was issued your I-20 or your DS 2019. Okay, you will also complete check-in using iStart. So right now, many of you have started check-in, and the reason why we know is because we're getting your e-form. So thank you so much to those who have already started the electronic check-in. For those who have not started check-in, OIE strongly recommends that you get a head start and begin to complete the e-forms that you can do now from home, okay? So there are portions of check-in that you can do right now while you are still in your home country. The first two that you can do is definitely the I-20 or the DS 2019 upload. Okay, so when we issued your immigration document, the I-20 for F students and the DS 2019 for J students, you will be able to access that particular e-form and upload a copy of your I-20 or your DS 2019. That is also your way to communicate if there are any errors on your document, so that way if we need to reissue the I-20 or DS 2019 due to like maybe a name misspelling or the birth date is incorrect, you can communicate that in this e-form. Okay. On the screen that you see on your screen, this is the file path to the check-in e-forms. So when you log into istart.godtech.edu, on the left side is the FJ Student Arrival and Check-in menu. And then from there, you will pull down the Fall 2019 check-in. And the first e-form there is obviously the I-20 DS 2019 upload, Fall 2019. If you have already been approved for your visa and you have received your visa in your passport, the visa stamp, you can go ahead and upload the Visa Upload Fall 2019. So whether you've been issued your F or your J visa, we need a copy of that. And you can begin to upload that into iStart in the check-in e-forms. And thank you to those who have started that because we are receiving quite a few visa uploads already. Okay, the next e-form that you will be able to complete from home is the Contact Information F Students or Contact Information J Students, Fall 2019. And this particular e-form is our way of capturing your United States in country physical address, where you will be living or residing. We do need to have that information because that information will be entered into your CVIS immigration record, as it is a requirement. Okay, so those are the e-forms that you can do prior to your arrival. What are the e-forms that you can do after arrival? And these are the e-forms that you can only do after arrival, as a matter of fact. The How to Succeed as an F1 J1 student. So this is an e-form that you will complete to affirm and acknowledge that you understand the requirements, the regulations as an F1 or a J1 student. Okay, there's a lot of information, a lot of important information that as an F or a J student should be mindful of and aware of, benefits, things that you are allowed to do on your visa. So submitting this e-form will will allow us to provide you with that information, and you're going to acknowledge and confirm that you do understand that information. So that is the how to succeed as an F1J1 student e-form. And then the last e-form that you will upload is what's called the I-94 upload. So an I-94, and this image that you see on your screen here is a sample of what an I-94 looks like. And it's basically your arrival record into the United States. It is issued by CBP, Customs Border Protection. And every F or J student is issued an I-94, okay? The way to access your I-94 is through CBP's website. And as you can see, my cursor here is going over the link. That is the link to access your I-94. When you access this website, it will take you to a screen where, and you will be able to click a button that says Get Latest I-94. And then you will be required to enter some fields, like biographical information, your name, date of birth, passport number, and other required information. It's not lengthy at all, and it's not difficult. And then when you hit submit, a PDF of your I-94 will appear on your screen. And all you need to do is save that maybe on your desktop or print it, however you want to do it. If you want a hard copy, you can print it, and then you'll scan it and upload it into the I-94 upload e-form, okay? So, and of course, that has to be done after your arrival because you only are issued the I-94 once you have entered the U.S. And also take note, guys, your arrival is your port of entry into the United States, okay? So Atlanta may not necessarily be your port of entry. If you have a direct flight from your home country to Atlanta, a one-stop direct flight, then Atlanta would be your port of entry. However, not all students are so lucky to get direct flights from their home country. So there are times where you would have to have a layover. For example, if you're flying from, I don't know, let's say South Korea, but your layover is at JFK, New York, the New York airport, JFK. Technically, JFK, New York is your port of entry. And then you would take a domestic flight, a connection from JFK to Atlanta Hartsfield Airport. So just keep that in mind that, you know, not necessarily Atlanta will be your port of entry. Okay, so that's just a little trick, a little tip there for you. Okay, so once you have submitted all of those e-forms that we have discussed a few minutes ago, you would have fulfilled the requirement. And then OIE advisors will review your e-forms and will remove your check and hold. And this is actually good news, you guys. Starting this year, you guys are the first to be a part of this process. We are no longer requiring an in-person, face-to-face check-in hold removal with an OIE advisor. So that's actually something to be really excited about. I don't know if any of you have current friends here attending Georgia Tech who are international students, or maybe students or friends who have graduated who are international students, and maybe they gave you some tips and tricks about, you know, how to navigate check-in. They may have told you about the check-in with an OIE advisor to get your hold removed. Well, that's out the window. That's great news. We are no longer requiring students to meet with an advisor face-to-face, okay? So that's a positive. Once you have uploaded all of your e-forms, we will review accordingly in a very efficient time manner, about a one business day turnaround, and we will send you a confirmation email noting that your hold has been removed and your check-in has been completed. Okay. Now, what if you do need assistance with check-in? What if you get to Atlanta and you just don't have the technology, you don't have the computers to complete check-in, you can't access iStart, you need a little help, you need a little assistance? Well, don't worry, okay? We are hosting what's called International Student Check-in Assistance at CULC. So CULC is an acronym for Clough Undergraduate Learning Commons. It's a building here on campus, not far from OIE's Office Savant. We will have a designated space in Clough, CULC. There's so many ways to say this building, you guys. Get ready. We will have a space available for newly admitted international students for help with completing check-in, okay? We are going to have computers set up. We're going to have scanners set up. OIE staff will be there to assist, and so will our Welcome Series assistants, who are our students. They will also be there on site to help you guys if you need assistance. But remember, this is not a requirement. This is really here for you guys as to help support you if you are unable to complete the check-in on your own, or if you need the technology, the computers, to help you fulfill that requirement. What you see on your screen here is the schedule. As you can see, very soon, starting Thursday, August 8th, is when we're going to be located at Clough. And those are the designated times for each day. Okay, so we will be more than available for you guys. If you notice at the very end of this chart, the week of August 19th through the 23rd, that is the first week of class. The first day of the semester is August 19th, a Monday. We will no longer be utilizing Clough during this week. We will be here in our building, Savant. Savant is where the Office of International Education is located. We are still finalizing the times for Savant, but don't you worry, it will be updated by the time you guys arrive, if you still need assistance with completing check-in by this time, okay? This schedule that you see on your screen here can also be found at that link, our ISS check-in website, and you will find it under the How Do I Get My OIE Hold Removed accordion, okay? And before I forget, you guys, I just wanted to make note, the I-94 form that we discussed in the previous slide will officially open this Saturday, July 20th. So if we have any early arrivers to the U.S., or if you're a transfer student and you're tuning into our webinar and you're currently in the United States, that I-94 form will be made available this Saturday, July 20th. And the reason why that form is still locked, if you're looking for it, is because we have to align it with the 30-day entry window into the United States. So if you notice, your I-20 has a program start date of August 19th. That's the first day of classes. F1 and J1 students are not allowed to enter the U.S. No more than 30 days from the program start date on their I-20 or DS 2019. So, Nora.
Yeah, and I just wanted to point out one other thing is that just be mindful that here we are not working on the weekends. Some countries that's common to do that, but we do not work on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday. So, if you're entering the U.S. This coming Saturday, we will not be reviewing your forms and removing your hold until the following Monday, the first business day. So just keep that in mind whenever you're arriving during this check-in period. If you submit a form over the weekend, it will be reviewed on Monday.
Okay, thank you, Nora. That is a great point. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure you guys had a date that is when the e-form will become available. Okay, let's continue to move on. This screen here is about OIE's video series. What you see on this page here, at the top, you see that link. That is a link to a variety of videos, like a library of various videos that we post on our website to help international students be familiar with not only Georgia Tech, but a way to help with your adjustment to the United States, things to be aware of. It's good for our students to watch these videos so that they have a good way to prepare for cultural adjustment, and not only just cultural adjustment to the U.S., but maybe cultural adjustment to a U.S. college campus or a university. That's a listing of some of the videos. If you notice here, the first bullet, arriving in the U.S. Oops, I'm sorry, you guys. Arriving in the U.S. and President G.P. Bud Peterson's welcome. So this is kind of funny. That video is still there. However, President Peterson is retiring from Georgia Tech. And we have a new president starting as of September 1st. And we are really, really excited to have him join us because he was a Georgia Tech graduate. He is a president who is leaving, what university in Virginia, Nora?
George Mason?
George Mason. Thank you, Nora. He's leaving George Mason University in Virginia, and he's coming back home, quote unquote. He's coming back home to Georgia Tech. And what's also pretty exciting for us here at OIE is that he is originally from Spain and has Fulbright. He attended Georgia Tech on a Fulbright. So he has some international experience himself.
I think he started as an international student.
He did. Mm-hmm. He did. And attended on a Fulbright. So that is what's really exciting about the new incoming president to Georgia Tech. And he is starting September 1st. So anyway, all that to say, President Peterson's video is still up there, and he still has some great words for our incoming students. So I recommend that you guys watch it anyway, even though we are getting a new president as of September 1st. And those are, again, some of the other videos that we have on our website. Safety in the U.S., health insurance in the U.S., community organizations on campus. So familiarize yourself with some of those great videos and resources. Okay. These are the documents that you should have on hand with you when arriving into Atlanta, okay? So first and foremost, you're going to make sure you have your I-20 or your DS 2019 on person, your valid passport, your valid U.S. visa, which is inside your passport, obviously, and a copy of your I-901 CVIS fee receipt is strongly recommended. So that's not necessarily a required document per se. However, it is strongly recommended that you have that. And if you remember, the I-901 CVIS fee is the fee that you paid when we issued your I-20 in order for us to, I'm sorry, you guys, you had to pay that fee. And what this fee is consider it like a maintenance fee for your CVIS record. And that's the record that we use to maintain your I-20 or DS 2019 immigration record. Okay, and there's that pro tip. Carry these documents on board with you in a carry-on bag, or ladies, if you have a purse, guys, girls, guys, gals, if you have a book bag, backpack. You don't want to pack this in your luggage because if you pack this in your luggage and, the luggage is under the airplane separate from you, when you arrive into the airport and you go through customs, you're not going to have your luggage just yet when you go through customs, right? And in order to go through customs, you have to show these immigration documents. And if you don't have your I-20 or DS 2019 with you or on you upon entry, that could lead to some delays, some complications upon entry. You might be issued what's called the I-515A. Basically, with an I-515A, it's what's considered like a temporary admission into the United States document. So in other words, if you don't have your I-20 or DS 2019 with you, you could be issued the 515A, and it's a requirement that you fulfill the conditions of the 515A. Otherwise, it could lead to a headache. Let's put it that way. It will lead to a headache that you just don't want to deal with. So please make sure that you carry these documents with you on flight. Okay, and again, here's a reminder about the I-94. This is what will be issued to you upon entry and when you go through Customs Border Protection. And that's what you will use to upload into your I-94E form. At the bottom of this screen here, you do see a link. Customs Border Protection created a video to provide some tips and tricks for any international visitor to the United States. So, it's good to watch that video as well so that you can prepare and be mindful of what to expect upon entry. Okay. So now this page really quickly is about getting to Georgia Tech from the airport. So you have arrived, you're good to go. What's your next step? How are you going to get from the airport to the Georgia Tech campus? So the Georgia Tech is located in Midtown Atlanta. We are in the heart of the city, okay? And we're about 12 miles north of the airport, so it's actually not a far commute at all. There are various ways to get from the airport to campus. First and foremost, there are taxis. Now, if you ask me, this will always be my preferred way. If I'm traveling to a new country, or if you're, maybe some of you have had, travel experience into the United States before, but if you're like me and I have tons of bags, I'm super tired, I don't want to navigate local public transportation. I'm just going to take the most convenient way and hop in a taxi, okay? Taxis are available outside of baggage claim at the airport. They typically are a flat rate of about $30 to $32, but it may differ depending on, the time of day, the peak. There are peak times, peak hours of day for taxi drivers. So what we recommend that you do is if you decide to use a taxi, before putting your luggage inside the car, ask the driver how much it will be and determine if you're going to use the meter or a flat rate. So in other words, you have to, find out if you're going to use the meter, the little machine inside the car that calculates the price, the rate, or if you're going to just agree on one flat rate. Okay? MARTA is our local public transportation system here in Atlanta. MARTA has a railway, train type of system, and there are also buses. That is the website for MARTA. Luckily and very conveniently, MARTA is located at the airport, and you can take MARTA from the airport directly to the local stop near Georgia Tech. So all you have to do is follow the signs at baggage claim, and then you purchase what's known as the Breeze card. That's the name of the card that MARTA sells. And we recommend that you keep this card because it can be used over and over. You can keep recharging or refilling it with fare. Okay, the card itself is $2, but you have to pay the additional fare for whatever the cost of the trip is. The closest MARTA stops to Georgia Tech is North Avenue and Midtown. Okay, so keep that in mind if you decide to use MARTA. And finally, if you guys are familiar with Uber and Lyft, they are widely very available here in Atlanta. You will not have a problem finding an Uber or a Lyft as long as you have the app. You must have the app on your phone, so that way you can order an Uber or a Lyft. And again, just like anything else, be mindful, use caution before you get into any car. Make sure that the Uber or the Lyft that you order via the app matches who comes to pick you up. You can find who your driver is and the license plate and the make and model of the car. Okay, so that just use your discretion on what you find is most comfortable for you.
The question about the time ticket, they get an email with the time ticket information later, right, for registration?
Oh, time ticket. Yeah. I'm going to pause on the
We don't have to do it now, but maybe later.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. Okay, sorry guys for the confusion. I'm going to pause for just a sec. Nora brought a question to my attention about time tickets and registration. Yeah, so students will be issued what's called time tickets. You can find this time ticket assignment in your Buzzport account, your Buzzport portal. The way Georgia Tech assigns time tickets, it's based on the number of credits and seniority you have as a student here at Georgia Tech. So even though registration opens August 10th, not every single solitary student will register on August 10th. Okay, those who have seniority here, students who are nearing graduation or who have high credits, they tend to be able to register first, and then you go down the line there. I don't know exactly how it works because this is overseen by Georgia Tech's registrar's office, but you will be able to see what your time ticket assignment is. Okay?
Yeah, here, I found some.
Okay.
Chat, so you guys can look into it. We don't manage the registration process itself, and it depends kind of on if you're a returning student, how many credits you have, if you're going to Facet, things like that. But I will send you a couple links now through chat so you guys can dig into this yourselves.
Okay. All right, thanks, Nora. let's move on to the OIE International Welcome Series. So OIE, we develop this a series of welcome events for our students. Some are informational and some are social events. And we put these together so that not only can you acclimate yourself to campus and meet OIE staff, meet your fellow international students, but it's also a way for us to, inform you, educate you on a variety of topics. Attendance is not required at any of our Welcome Series events, but they are strongly encouraged and they're strongly recommended because, we do this for you guys. And we want you to feel welcome here at Georgia Tech. And again, it's a great way for you to meet other students and connect and network and socialize. These are examples of some of the sessions that we will be including. Staying safe and healthy in the U.S. The OIE Welcome Party is always a big draw every year. It's really good, a very good time. Cultural Transitions Video and Student Panel. We will have students, fellow international students who are upperclassmen there to help welcome our new students and provide maybe some insights, some helpful tips and tricks, and also discuss their own experiences. We will have an international spouse orientation. It is common for some of our students, especially our graduate or PhD students, to come with their spouse and their families, their kids. So if you are traveling with a spouse, there will be a spouse orientation for them. If you want to see the full schedule, it is posted on our website, and there is a full description of what these sessions are, the time, the location, all the details, okay? You can go to that link there. And there, again, we will have more information about our Welcome Series. Okay, so your first days at Georgia Tech, what are they going to look like? So as far as orientations are concerned, for undergraduate students, there's what's known as FACET. FACET is not a required orientation for our undergrad students. However, it's a great way for our undergraduate students to get a good feel of what Georgia Tech is like. It's a way for you to register for classes. There are some social activities during FACET. Campus tours happen during FACET. So there are some good things that the FACET team does. You would have to register for that orientation and pay a fee. But again, it is not required. For our grad students, if you're coming, if you're coming to pursue a master's or a PhD, there are orientations for you. There is the graduate orientation and the grad expo, and there might be individual academic department orientations. We recommend that you go to that link if you're a grad student to get details on what is entailed during the grad expo and the grad orientation. Just a plug for our grad students, if you are coming to Georgia Tech and receiving a GRA, a graduate research assistant, or a graduate teaching assistant, also known as a GTA, you will be able to complete your grad hiring paperwork with OHR, Office of Human Resources, during the grad expo. Okay, all that information is on that website there. And then lastly, that is again the OIE Welcome Series that I just discussed in the previous slide. Other things that you want to consider on your first days at Georgia Tech is getting a buzz card. The buzz card is Georgia Tech's main identification card, okay? All students have a GTID, all staff have a GTID, faculty have a GTID, so it is the main source of ID. The buzz card is used to enter certain buildings, like maybe dormitories or the library. Not all buildings on campus is public. So some buildings do require a buzz card swipe or entry. You also need your GTID to check out books from the library or other, technology from the library. And you can also use it for your meal plan. You can add money onto your buzz card so that when you swipe at the dining facility, you can pay for your meals that way. If you are an undergrad student and attending Facet, you will get your buzz card during Facet. Graduate students, you can get your buzz card at the Georgia Tech bookstore. Barnes & Noble is our official bookstore on campus. It's located in Tech Square. If you're an undergrad student not attending Facet, you may also go to the Buzz Card Center at the GT bookstore, Barnes & Noble. And I think, I thought Nora was.
Oh,
never mind.
Sorry, what do you want me to pull up? Barnes & Noble? I'm doing something else. Barnes & Noble?
Sorry, I thought Nora was pulling up the
Another question to answer.
Sorry, you guys. Yeah, Nora will provide the link for Barnes & Noble and put it in the chat there for our Georgia Tech bookstore. Okay. Here is just some further additional information. We'd like to provide you guys with lots of information. Public transportation on and around campus. Again, we've already discussed MARTA, but that's the website again. Georgia Tech campus itself has multiple forms of transportation services. We do have a campus bus, okay, that has a couple of different routes. And then we also have the Georgia Tech trolley. Okay, the trolley is different from the bus. The trolley also follows a certain route. So I think Nora will also provide that information. Just be mindful that Georgia Tech is huge. It's a huge campus, you guys. I've worked here almost 4 years. September will make 4 years that I've worked here at Tech, and I haven't seen all of campus myself. So, even though lots of areas are walkable, there are lots of areas that it's just hard to get around by foot. So you might want to just get yourself used to that bus schedule or the trolley schedule, as it will come in handy when you're going from class to class, building to building, or wherever you need to go. If you decide to drive while studying here at Georgia Tech, there are various parking options. You must buy a parking permit in order to park your car on in a parking lot on campus. Feel free to visit the Parking and Transportation Services website there. They have a ton of information about the various parking passes. They all have different costs. I think if you ride a motorcycle, there are different parking options for motorcycles or bikes and things of that nature. Okay. Oh, and speaking of bikes, there just recently here at Georgia Tech, you'll see a lot of those rental bikes where you download an app and you can borrow a bike and ride it to your destination and just leave it. And we also have scooters, bird scooters. So there are various ways to get around campus. Okay. Let's talk about visa administrative processing. Nora's going to jump in for one hot second.
Do you have a page for this?
No.
Oh.
We're just talking about it.
Okay. Yeah, so I have a couple questions pending, so I'll get to those in just a second. Let me know in the chat. Is it helpful that you're getting the links? I don't know. I think hopefully that's helpful if I'm sending the links through the chat. But anyhow, just to let you know about visa administrative processing. Unfortunately, this does happen to some of our students. Administrative processing is when you go for the visa interview and the consular official is not able to issue a decision about yes or no to grant the visa at that time, and so they would take some time to look into your case. They may request information about your plans of study, what you've studied in the past, maybe personal relationships, affiliations. It can get pretty intense. So just to let you know, it does happen to a small number. So if this has happened to you, or if it does happen to you, please reach out to us right away to let us know. So we know that you're kind of caught up in this, administrative process. And there is an e-form in iStart. We shared some links earlier, istart.gottech.edu. You go right to this FJ arrival section, and there is an e-form for student administrative processing visa delay. So you would report that to us so we can keep this issue on our radar. And then in terms of these administrative processing, sometimes it can be resolved in a few days or a couple weeks, but for unfortunately for some people it can take much longer than that. So if this does happen to you and you are still pending in this process after basically the end of course registration, it may be that you will have to defer your program to a later start date. So that would be something that would be kind of worked out with your department first, is they would have to let us know about your deferral to a later start date. Sometimes there can be a little bit of flexibility on the arrival time. So I would say, again, just to emphasize, if this happens to you, please communicate with us so we can loop in the relevant parties and everybody can work to support you through this process.
Thank you, Nora. Okay. Okay, so the next point we'll talk about is health insurance and immunization requirements. So it is required that all international students, F&J, have health insurance. It is not only a Georgia Tech requirement, it's a federal requirement as part of the visa. Health insurance, this might be something that you guys are not familiar with if you don't necessarily have it in your home country, but in the U.S. it is required that students have the health insurance, because if something was to happen to you or if you got sick, medical bills are very expensive here in the United States. And the health insurance is there to protect you and help reduce the costs of these of your medical bills if you were to go to the doctor or if you were to go to the hospital. So that is why it is a requirement. And also immunization is a requirement by the Stamps Health Services. They need to have a copy of your immunizations on record, just so you know that you have also fulfilled your the required shots and immunizations. All F&J students are automatically enrolled in the mandatory core health insurance. However, if you have an insurance policy or if you found a health insurance policy that is comparable to what Georgia Tech offers to international students, you can submit a waiver to opt out of it. Please note that OIE does not oversee health insurance or immunizations. What I have provided the two links here for you to visit: health.gotech.edu/finance/insurance. That link will take you directly to Stamps Health Services, a website that discusses health insurance more in depth. Okay? That second link, health.gotech.edu/immunizations/requirements, talks about the immunization requirements from Stamps. Please, I ask that you go to those two pages if you have any questions related to health insurance, the packages that are available, the plans, how much they cost, and the immunization requirements. Okay, just taking a look ahead at some other upcoming important dates for you to be mindful of. The first official day of classes is Monday, August 19th. Phase 2 registration is August 10th through August 23rd. And that, again, that's the period of when you can register for classes. And that is also the last week that you can arrive to the U.S. and complete registration. OIE's International Student Check-in is aligned with these dates purposely, because we have to ensure that everyone has arrived, checked in, and completed registration. So that is why that's why check-in and the last day of phase 2 registration are aligned. Okay? Tuition and fee payment deadline is Monday, August 26th at 4 p.m. That's when your tuition is due. That's the bursar's website. The bursar's office is the office that oversees all tuition, fees, and payments. The first holiday for you guys, you're not even here, we're talking holidays, but the first holiday for all students, staff, and faculty, yay, is Monday, September 2nd. That will be Labor Day. And then after that, the fall 2019 student recess is Monday and Tuesday, October 7th and 8th. There will be no classes for students, but Georgia Tech will be open as a campus. Okay, so in other words, OIE will be open and other offices, departments will be open, staff will be working. You will just not have class on those 2 days. So that is the difference between the Labor Day holiday and the student recess, the fall recess. I recommend that you guys bookmark the registrar's website, pin it to your favorites on your computers or phones. You can get access to the registrar's calendar through this link here. That's where all of this information that I just discussed is, and more. It'll be good for you guys to familiarize yourself with the registrar's calendar and know what some other important upcoming dates are. Okay, so we are at the end of our presentation. We do have, if necessary, about 20 minutes for a Q&A. This page here is just some sample topics for your questions. You can ask us anything that we covered today, especially about OIE related topics such as check-in or preparing for arrival. If you have any general visa questions, feel free to ask us, or immigration related questions, please ask us. But also, here's a reminder, you guys, the chat that Nora is monitoring right now and responding to is a public forum. So if you have a specific question about yourself, please do not share any personal or private information through this chat, as again, everyone will see it. So if you're going to ask a question on chat, make sure it is, a good question for everyone. If you have a specific question just pertaining to you, or if it's a private personal question, please take note of our email address right here at the bottom. info@oie.godtech.edu. You can direct any specific or personal questions there.
So I would say just a few questions. Juan was asking about how to pay the tuition. I'm going to send a link. So just to let you know, that would be managed by the bursar's office. I'm going to send you a link. It'll give you how to set up a payment plan, what the deadlines are. There's I think an online portal for payment. All of that stuff is going to be in that link. So I'll send that to you now. There's another question about safety on campus. Do you want to talk about that?
Oh yes, before we move on to the safety, I just want to also plug Flywire. Flywire is a vendor, a third-party vendor that the bursar's office partners with, and OIE, we partner with them as well. They're one of our sponsors. Flywire is a vendor that helps with paying tuition from overseas international accounts. So for example, if your parents or your family, if your family is helping you pay for tuition, you can set up an account with Flywire for the ease of tuition payments from through a wire process. Okay.
So there was a question about safety.
Okay. How to stay safe? Is that the question?
Yeah, if you can address that, I have more.
Okay. So staying safe in Atlanta. So yeah, just like any city, in the U.S. or around the world, safety is going to be your number one concern. For the most part, yes, Atlanta is a safe city. However, there are some, as we call them, bad apples, wherever you go. So you just have to be mindful. You have to be cautious. You just have to be aware of your surroundings, whether you're on campus or off campus. Georgia Tech, we do have the GTPD, the Georgia Tech Police Department, who service emergencies on campus. If you have a safety concern, you can rely on the Georgia Tech Police Department. You can call them for help. Whenever you go off campus, Georgia Tech Police Department doesn't service the city of Atlanta. So at that point, you would have to rely on the city of Atlanta's police department if you were to get into an emergency, or if you feel that you are in a situation where you need assistance, you would have to call 911 and they would dispatch you to the local police department. So I understand everyone's concerns. You're traveling maybe for the first time to the U.S. into Atlanta. Again, for the most part, Atlanta is a safe city, but just like anywhere you go, you just have to be mindful and cautious and careful.
So we have a few questions about housing. I'm just going to send you all the link for the Department of Housing. I don't think that we have any arrangements with any like Airbnb or any agreements such as that. I would say you would have to check for like Airbnb yourself, local hotels, and
we do have. If you want to link them to our website, Nora.
Okay. Yeah.
We do have, on OIE's website, we do have some information related to housing, and not just Georgia Tech housing, but maybe some options off campus. So if you're looking to maybe get an apartment, we do have some reputable search engines for rental apartments in and around Atlanta. Yes, that's the temporary
housing? Is that what you wanted?
Well, temporary housing.
Somebody's asking about that.
Oh, then that's the temp.
Yeah, temporary housing. And then what was the other thing you mentioned?
The other one was housing around Atlanta. And guys, also be mindful that, just also do your due diligence and make sure that whoever you're speaking with or renting from is a reputable person. You don't want to be scammed online. So even though our website does provide some partnered rental agencies or apartment complexes around Atlanta, you don't want to find a random person online and say, hi, I'm renting my apartment. Because you just have to be mindful and just know that whoever you're renting from is legitimate.
And also just to comment, there's maybe another couple questions about insurance. Please check the link that I sent. It's going to give information about, insurance fee, what the coverage period is, and then if you do have health insurance that you've maybe purchased in your own country, you can apply for a waiver of the kind of compulsory student insurance, and there's information about the deadlines and the waiver process in the link that I've shared with you guys. So please just look at the link. Discounts, I think a lot of places you can use your Buzz card to get a student discount. Do we have a list of information about that somewhere? I think different places just offer student discounts, or maybe in the Tech Square neighborhood that I mentioned earlier, just kind of walking distance from campus. That's right where Barnes & Noble is. They may have, discounted meals and stuff if you present your student ID. A lot of movie theaters and stuff like that, if you share a student ID, you can have a discount. I would say, is there a discount for the Barnes & Noble for students? I don't know.
Maybe during special times, like when Barnes & Noble has their flash sale, I think. During the holidays.
Yeah. What about any special documents needed to get the Buzz card? I think
no.
Just go to the office. You probably need
You need to present an ID,
like an ID, passport, something like that. Yeah, I would say if you have more specific questions about processes from other offices, I would say check kind of the links that I've sent, and then go to those sources to ask the questions, because we do our best, but we don't know all the little nitty-gritty details of every single process. So I would say kind of go to that source and then ask the question there. I don't know that we can answer all the detailed questions. The tuition is paid semesterly. Another question about visa expiration. People often get concerned about that because not everybody's visa duration, it doesn't necessarily match the duration of your period of study on your I-20 document or your DS 2019 document. So just to let you know, if your visa expires while you are in the U.S., usually not a big deal, because it's the I-20 document for F1 students that would maintain your legal status in the U.S. If, for example, you have an I-20 for just 2 years as a graduate student, but you need a bit more time in your program, you'll just request an extension from our office, and if you're eligible, we will then be able to just extend your legal status on that I-20, even if your visa is expired. So no need to panic about I have to go back home to renew my visa in a year because it expires in 1 year. The visa is only for entering the U.S. And let's see, what else do we have? So I think, so Lee, I think I answered your question. Shipping items. I don't know what that means, Brandon, about shipping items to the school. I don't know what that means exactly. Maybe you can clarify. Tana, about the fee payment, I would say again, check the Tana, I would say check the bursar's office link about tuition fee payment. Again, we don't have all the details about all the processes, but they will be able to help you with exactly what the payment options are. Drumil, documents for SIM cards. Good question. I would say probably, probably check with the phone provider. I'm using the, well, I shouldn't plug it, but there's more options than just getting a SIM and going to T-Mobile. You know, I have like a Google plan that I like. So let's see. Contact information e-form. Parth, if you don't have a U.S. phone number, you know, if you don't know your address, then don't fill out the form. If you don't know where you're going to be staying, don't fill out the contact information form. Until, you know, even once you reach here, if you're staying in a hotel for a few days, you can submit it with the hotel information so you can move through the check-in process, and then you would just update us later once you know, secure your housing. So don't let that stop you from submitting the form. Go ahead and just submit your hotel. If you don't have a U.S. phone number and that's going to take you a few days, don't let that hold you back. If you know where you're staying, you could provide like a departmental phone number, something like that. And then just keep in mind you need to update us later once you have your phone number, because in case of something arises, we need to have your real phone number, not be like calling the hotel you stayed at 6 months ago. And let's see, so many questions. Let's see. Okay. Tanishq, you asked about degree certificate. That's a good question. We didn't have that earlier. I think this is mostly with graduate students. A lot of times you still need to provide transcripts to the graduate studies office. I'm just going to send you guys a link for the grad studies office. So if at least if you're a graduate student, you will visit their office with your transcripts or required documents and check with them about deadlines and stuff like that. I would say otherwise maybe go for your, go to undergrad admissions if you're an undergraduate student and you have missing documents. Check with them about deadlines and processes. Shreya, you have a question about FACET. Just to let you know, we are going to be having, if you refer back to the beginning of the presentation when we had some information about our schedule in the Culk building about when we'd be available for supporting people through the registration process, we are going to be in that building, the same location where the FACET registration is occurring. So if you have any hitches or hiccups, while you are trying to do your FACET registration, we will be in the same building. Refer to the room number that's posted in the schedule. And then if any kind of delay in being able to register during FACET, you can come and see us in the same building and we will assist you. Okay. William, dorm check-in, check the housing link. I'm not sure about that one. Ahmed, garage sale questions, not sure about that. But sometimes there's stuff in like the campus newspaper. Craigslist is a pretty common source for things like that. Pre-check. Parth, for pre-check, if you're like doing your U.S. port of entry check through like Abu Dhabi, for example, or you know, something like that, or a location outside the U.S., basically that's still considered your port of entry. So you would enter that in the e-form as your port of entry. It's really not considered any different from arriving in any other like location on U.S. soil. So don't worry about that. Okay, let me see. Jinhyo, I plan to arrive on August 16th. Yeah, Jin, for your arrival on the 16th, If you miss anything like related to your department, you'll have to check with them. If you're a grad student, if you miss the grad hiring expo on the 14th and 15th, doesn't mean you can't apply for the SSN. It just means that you'll have to go to the SSN office to apply for that. But yeah, everybody's still going to be working on check-in and onboarding people throughout, the month of August and into early September. So resources are still going to be available. So I would say whatever questions you have, if you come a little bit later, just reach out and ask for help, and people will be here to help you. Rohit, I'm not sure about the error report on Buzzport. Maybe it might be a timing issue, so I would say check in a little bit later about that one. Parth, just to be clear about the I-94, nobody is issued an I-94 by the customs officer. It's just something that once your admission to the US or through the pre-check, if you're doing it in Abu Dhabi or something like that, it's just an electronically generated number, and then you go online to retrieve it. So however you clear US customs, once you complete that, it might take a few hours or maybe even a day sometimes for that kind of to be updated electronically. So don't panic if it's not there right away. But then you'll just go to that URL that we provided, and you will look up your details. You just need your passport number, date of birth, and your name, I think, is all you need. And then you can, it'll generate a document you can save as PDF, and that's what you'll share with us. Driver's license, good question. I'll just send you the link. This is the driver's license stuff is through the Department of Driver Services in Georgia. So I will send you the link. You would have to work with them. It can be kind of nuanced. So I will just send you that link for driver services, and then you would work with parking office if you want to organize on-campus parking. Yeah, you can't get it right away. I think you have to wait until your CVIS record is registered. So that could be coming into early September before you'd be eligible, because we have to validate your record and some stuff like that. About the grad studies office, email, grad studies. Oh, here. Contact us. For the grad studies, it looks like, I don't see that they have an email, but they have a contact form. So if you don't want to call them, I would say maybe submit the contact form. That's the fastest resource I have available for anybody trying to reach grad studies. Okay. Yeah, nothing to worry about when you enter the U.S. through a different port. Okay. And Vivek, there is, it is possible to have that kind of a police escort or an escort if you're out on campus late at night. I think if you all want to take a look again at the, I want to say it's the Parking and Transportation website. They have some different information about campus shuttle, campus buses. There's things like that. Let me see if I can pull that up.
If it's not on there,
Campus Transit.
It might be on the police.
Stingray. Oh yeah. Stingray Safety Shuttle. That's something. A safety shuttle. Yeah, there's information about a campus safety shuttle. I'm going to send that to you. And then might be GT. Yeah, campus safety. I'll send you, police escorts available on request. There's also some late night bus routes. I'm going to just send you this link from the Student Life website. It has some details about safety notifications in general. Like you'll get alerts on your phone in case of like a campus closure or a weather event. There's information about bicycles and things like that. Okay. And let's see if we can just do like maybe one last question. Okay, yeah, I'll just take, okay, again, about the insurance, refer to their website. Anything related to outside offices, athletics, insurance, refer to those web pages for more information. I don't think MARTA is free for Georgia Tech students. You'll have to check their website. I don't think so. And then finally, I'm going to wrap it up with Ahmed's question about, just to, again, to clarify the contact information e-form. If you don't have any kind of U.S. address, you have no idea whatsoever, wait until you know your address. If you have a hotel where you can stay, you can add that like once you get here, but then you must update it because obviously we have to report your U.S. residential address to the SEVIS governmental system. So obviously if you tell us you're staying in a hotel and you never update it, it's kind of failing to comply with the F1 or J1 visa regulations. So you can complete check-in by reporting your contact information like at the hotel, but then within 10 days of moving from any location, you need to update us with your new address. So with that, I think we've got to wrap up our chat. We've got to get going with check-in e-forms that students have submitted, so we have a lot of work to be doing in our office. I'm just going to send you our email address. If you have further questions, you can email us. Just want to highlight again, mostly our role is to guide you all through the immigration type questions and status related questions. So again, just want to guide you to refer to the relevant office of the question that you have. And thank you all very much for participating, and we look forward to welcoming you whenever you join us.
Okay guys, thank you so much for your time this morning. We do appreciate your attention and listening to us providing info and your questions as well. My name is Courtney. Again, thank you to Nora. We look forward to seeing you guys within now, or not now, I'm sorry, between now and in the next few weeks when you guys start to arrive. But again, please follow us on Instagram. There is our GTISS Instagram handle. Please take pictures of your travels. Post us in your pictures. Tag us in your pictures, I should say. And we want to see how you're doing and how you're preparing for your trip and when you arrive to Atlanta, okay? Signing off.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. It was a real pleasure. We know it can be stressful, but we're here to help. Any more questions, just let us know and we will support you.